2FM with Expressway. Summer is here, so take it easy and travel with Expressway for your holidays all over Ireland. Find out more at EXTRA.ie. Live across the nation. RTE radio player. This is RTE 2FM.
It's 6 o'clock. I'm Jan O'Connell. Public sector unions are to ballot their members on whether to accept the 6.5% pay increase over 2 years. The proposals were tabled by the Workplace Relations Commission following the conclusion of pay talks between unions and government. John King, Secretary of the Public Services Committee at the Irish Congress of Trade Unions, said he did not accept that the pay increases were irresponsible.
Public service are to movement, productivity and change and ongoing reform in all of the sectors across the public service. There are ongoing discussions and negotiations in relation to change and to modernisation.
Tributes have been paid to two 16-year-old boys who died after getting into difficulty in Lochina in County Derry yesterday evening. Reuben Simon and Joseph Sebastian had been swimming with a group of friends on the last day of the school holidays. They were pupils at St. Colum's College in the city. A man and woman in their 80s have died in a multiple vehicle collision in County Cork. A third person was injured and has been treated in hospital. Road traffic diversions remain in place. From Cork, Jenny O'Sullivan.
The major emergency response plan was activated when 3 cars and a fully loaded car transporter were in collision on the main Cork to Rimskibby Road, east of the Shannon Park roundabout, just before 11 o'clock this morning. The occupants of one car, a couple in their 80s, were pronounced dead at the scene. The driver of a second car was taken by ambulance to Cork University Hospital, where his injuries are not described as life-threatening. The driver of the transporter and the third car were assessed at the scene, but didn't require hospital treatment. Major traffic diversions remain in place as Garda forensic investigators continue their examination of the collision site.
Managing Director of Festival Republic, Melvin Ben, has said it's a joy to see Electric Picnic back at Stradbally again. The music festival kicks off on Friday for the first time since 2019. Regular festival goers will see a few changes to the layout, including a new location for the main stage and minefield, as well as new areas including Fish Town, curated by Jerry Fish.
I've been kind of walking on Fish Town for 3 years now, so it feels just amazing to actually go out, create these things, and yeah, I can't wait to see people enjoy what we create, because everyone works so hard on this to create unique spaces and responses.
USM weather with Liberty Insurance. Car insurance up for renewal in the next 30 days? Visit libertyinsurance.ie to find out why we're different.
Dry, bright and sunny for most of the evening. Dry overnight, apart from a few showers along the east coast. Lowest temperatures 8 to 12 degrees.
Well, a big Goramila Mahal Gwyv to the two Johnnies for driving us through this afternoon. It is Tuesday, the 30th of August. I'm Shane Dawson alongside Ruby Walsh, and you are listening to Game On. Coming up this evening, we have the EXTRA.ie FAI Men's Cup 2022 quarter-final draw live in studio in the company of Cup winners Alan Keane and Mark Rossiter. However, there is also the small matter of Bohemian Football Club parting company with manager Keith Long to discuss. While in tennis, we're also looking back on Serena Strong's showing, that's tough to say, and her swan song as well, Ruby, in the US Open last night, and some shock exits. All of that plus the rest of the day's news. As always, if you want to get in touch, you can text us on 51552 or tweet us at GameOn2FM. The Welta, yeah, exactly. As expected, to be fair. Firstly, I suppose with Sam Bennett, because he started so well, so his hopes of winning the green jersey at the Vuelta España have been dashed after he was forced to withdraw from the race ahead of stage 10 time trial, due unfortunately to COVID-19. The Carrick-on-Suir man, who had sprinted to 2 stage victories already in the race, lay in second place in the points classification, becomes the 12th rider forced out of the Vuelta due to the virus. yeah, really, really unlucky stuff there. And yeah. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Let's call it what it is. Absolute shambles. Shambles. But however, sticking with cycling as well, before we chat Cam Smith, Ruby, Cycling Ireland has opted against sending a team to the upcoming World Championships, citing a shortage of resources to fund the venture. The 2022 UCI Road World Championships take place in Australia from the 18th to the 25th of September. However, the governing body believes that their limited budget is better utilised elsewhere, so a strong emphasis has been placed on European events, junior and under 23 riders this year, according to Cycling Ireland, who conceded that the World Championships was an event where success is far from assured. So, Sinead for the cycling. But as you mentioned, Ruby, at the top, Open champion Cameron Smith has become the highest ranked player to join the Saudi Arabian funded Live Golf Series. The 29-year-old world number 2 has been confirmed in the field for the next Live tournament in Boston. The Australian will be joined by rising star Joaquin Niemann, the 23-year-old world number 19 from Chile. I know you were chatting golf yesterday with Greg Allen. I mean, I suppose it is the biggest name. It's not ideal. Mm. Mm. Yeah, and I know even, I think Greg Allen, RT Sports Greg Allen was tweeting earlier that a former tennis world number 1 was even mentioning that tennis keeping a close eye on things. So will be interesting to see how it all unfurls. And speaking of tennis, Gina Nyland will be joining us later, as I mentioned, to chat US Open. However, Ruby, standing across from us is Alan Keane and Mark Rossiter, because there is some association football news, and that is to do with the League of Ireland. And in particular, it is with great regret that Bohemian FC has today parted company with men's first team manager Keith Long. The board of Bohemian FC wish to express our heartfelt gratitude for Keith's dedication, loyalty and success during his time at the club. When Keith joined Bohemians in October 2014, he joined a club that had a multi-million euro debt and its future existence very much under threat. Thanks in no small part to his dedication, Bohemian FC is a very different place to the club he joined nearly 8 years ago. So Trevor Crowley and Derek Pender will take charge of the team on an interim basis. The full statement is on the Bohemian FC website. And as I mentioned, Ruby, Alan and Mark across from us, Mark Rossiter, obviously with a strong Bohemians connection. So if I come to yourself first, are you... well, Ruby, I'll do the rounds, don't you worry. I'll be coming to get your thoughts on their season so far. Well, listen, you know, obviously you've been keeping up to date. They had a poor Dublin derby defeat yesterday as well, and there was another defeat for a Dublin club, which we won't mention, Ruby. So yeah, we won't mention that. Sure, look, these things happen, Ruby. Of course, in Talca Park, a stadium enmeshed in the culture, life and sporting traditions of Dublin City since 1924. Mark Rossiter, are you surprised Keith Long has departed Bohemian Football Club?
I am surprised. I thought he genuinely would have got till the end of the season. I'm one of the people that believes he's probably got the hardest job in the league, having to do a rebuild every year. He's after bringing in a number of players and lost a number of players in the window. So I thought he would have got a little bit more time, to be honest.
Alan, obviously results haven't been ideal this year, but as Mark said, it's very tough circumstances. I mean, he had a contract there until 2024, so I suppose it's in that sense it's probably going to take a lot of Bohemians fans off guard.
Yeah, well, but to be fair, I think a lot of them this year weren't too happy with the way the results were. I think going back to last year, they had the opportunity to get Europe, and I think they kept huffing and puffing. And I think since then they haven't really kicked on, and their consistency has been poor enough. And look, they haven't won in the last 4 games in the league. And look, I feel for Keith, as Mark touched on there. He has to rebuild every year, but so does every manager in the league. That's the nature of the league. You're on 9-month contract, so you do lose your better players. Yes, he's lost a few quality players throughout, but unfortunately, football is a results business, and it's unforgiving at times. But yeah, it's disappointing because, as I said, he's one of the good guys of the league. But maybe it's time for a change.
I don't know. Like me and Alan were talking off air about it and seeing, I suppose, who's about the league and stuff like that. If you were looking within the league, you know, Andy Myler's done a great job and a good, I suppose, philosophy of football that he has at UCD. But there's no expectation on UCD, so I wouldn't be surprised if they've already earmarked somebody outside the league, to be honest.
I will say, Ronnie Collins is bringing a book out.
Would you be happy to see Duffer go, Shane?
Alan, you're asking an impartial journalist there, general League of Ireland question. I can't imagine Damien Duff will be departing Shelbourne because sure he's only a one club man. Right, gentlemen, Bohemians are in the EXTRA.ie FAI Men's Cup draw, and that is what we're here to get underway, and that's what we're here to do. Bohemians will be in the draw alongside Derry City, alongside Dundalk, Shamrock Rovers, the aforementioned Shelbourne, managed of course by Damien Duff, Treaty United of Limerick, UCD, and Waterford as well, who are in the First Division. So 6 Premier Division teams and 2 First Division teams. The matches to be played at the weekend of September 18th. So if we are going to get underway, Ruby, and sorry, Ruby, yes, leaving out one very vital clog of information there. So first team out are at home, obviously, and Alan, I believe, will be drawing the home team. So the first teams out, and then Mark Rossiter, cup winner, I suppose, a few years ago now. Alan Keane, 3-time cup winner with Sligo Rovers. So Alan is already, he's straight out of the box.
Shelbourne FC.
Ruby, Shelbourne, 7-time winners, 3rd in the Roll of Honour, last winners in 2000. That nutsy Fenland strike, of course, against Bohs in the cup replay. They did indeed, fact.
Bohemians.
That's it. Dublin Derby, Bohemians, 7-time winners, 8-time winners. They will.
Treaty United.
Ooh, okay, Treaty United. Possibly could be a First Division clash with Waterford.
UCD.
Ooh, UCD. Okay. They did back in 1984, Ruby, beating Shamrock Rovers in the aforementioned Talca Park. Sure, we're getting loads of Talca Park references in, Ruby.
Waterford FC.
Waterford, one of 2 First Division teams left in the competition, with Treaty already drawn earlier. Twice winners, looking to break a 22-year gap since their last FAI Cup lift. They did knock Pats out, yeah.
Dundalk.
So, Dundalk will be travelling to Waterford. Extra time penalty from Robbie Benson, getting them over the line into the quarter-final draw against Wexford.
Derry City.
Derry City in the Ryan McBride Brandywell, 5-time winners. Won the last FAI Cup in the old Lansdowne Road back in the day as well, 2006. Well, I hope I can get through there, Fred. Or else.
Shamrock Rovers.
Shamrock Rovers. So current leaders of the League of Ireland Premier Division against current second place Derry City. So some big ties there. So just to recap the draw there, it is Shelbourne versus Bohemian Football Club, Treaty United versus UCD, Waterford FC versus Dundalk, and Derry City versus Shamrock Rovers. Well, I suppose they're all big ties, quarterfinals, but I suppose first against second, let us start with the fourth quarterfinal, Derry City versus Shamrock Rovers. Mark, again, we saw Rovers having to contend with a few refixed matches due to their European run, and Derry had a refixed match yesterday. Obviously, a good win in Talca Park. I think I had tipped to Conan Byrne on Twitter, but it's their fifth league match they won in injury time. So they're digging in after a bit of an indifferent start as well, but a match that both Derry and Rovers fans will be very much looking forward to.
It'll be an unbelievable cup tie. Genuinely, I think any team or any of the top so-called top teams will be looking for a home draw. Not necessarily against Shamrock Rovers, but I think in the cup that Derry will fancy themselves against anybody. So provided that they got a home draw, I think they'll be happy enough. Yeah, absolutely, and even Waterford at home to Dundalk, same thing. They'll fancy themselves down there. It's not an easy place to go either and win, and they're going really well under the new management as well. So it'll be an interesting cup fixture.
Alan, Shelbourne versus Bohemians in the historic Talca Park. Listen, Bohs have probably gotten the better of Shells for the most part this season. Shelbourne managed to dig in and get a draw with 10 men against Bohs recently enough as well, but we were talking off air about perhaps if a new manager is announced. I know Trevor Crowley and Detzer are taking charge of Bohs in the interim, and by the time these matches are played by the weekend of September 18th, Bohs could have a new man in charge, we're not sure. But even with Keith Long going, regardless, there's going to be a bit of a new voice, a new setup there. Yes, there are people that were involved, but we've seen it in Sligo when Liam Buckley left and John Russell came in, that teams can get a boost, so Bohemians are going to be dangerous.
Yeah, they will, and look, it all depends, as you said, if they do get a manager in and how the players react, whether he wants them players in certain positions. At the end of the day, it's Keith Long's team, but all form goes out the window when it comes to cup football. And to be fair to Shelbourne, they've been very difficult at home this year, and I think it's in for an absolute cracker of a tie. The only, I suppose, the teams that are not in the cup would be disappointed would be St. Pat's and Sligo Rovers, who are vying for that fourth spot in the league to get hopefully one of the top three win the cup. So Derry getting Shams is a very is a kick in the teeth to them. They wouldn't want to have seen that, but overall I think you look at the standout fixtures, Shelbourne and Bohs and Derry City and Shamrock Rovers, is going to be a cracking weekend.
No, we don't at the moment, Ruby. That'd be another draw. However, Ruby, listen, I'd be open to having it on game on. Like, if our producer Ronan Lauder can talk to the FAI hierarchy, I wouldn't say no. No, it will be interesting. But Treaty, like UCD, and it's a great opportunity for those first division clubs, as you mentioned there. I think the last time a first division club was in the semi-finals 2018, when UCD went on their run. They lost out to Dundalk, who eventually went on to win the cup as well. But UCD going down to Treaty, that is going to be an interesting semi-final as well, and then the two kind of big Premier Division ties as well. So yeah, no, a lot of football to play. And then I suppose following up with the Shells Bohs as well, Alan, just before I went off on a bit of a tangent there, what have you made of Damien Duff and Shelbourne? And I ask that sincerely. I know we were having a bit of a laugh earlier and whatnot, because we're talking about the managerial positions with Bohemians as well, but in terms of what he's done with Shells so far, and I mean, for all 8 teams in this, I mean, win the cup and it's a trip to Europe. Yeah,
that's it. Look at when they first come back into the league this year, I said the main thing is to stay in the league. I didn't think they'd do as well as they've done. I was really impressed in the first game of the season against St. Pat's, and I think Damien is trying to bring a professional structure to the club. I know they're on a part-time basis, but even there's one of the games there, he brought the lads into a hotel, got the food, and that pays off overall. And I think going forward, I think eventually Damien will be looking to go full-time. And the main thing for Shelbourne this year was to stay in the league and a good cup run, and now they have a good chance at home against their Dublin rivals, and who knows, as I say, cup competition. If they won the cup this year, it would be absolutely remarkable.
Okay, gentlemen, good stuff. Mark Rossiter, Alan Keane, 2 former FAI Cup winners. Thank you very much for partaking in the EXTRA.ie FAI Men's Cup to get the full title. So just to confirm there, it is Shelbourne versus Bohemians, Treaty United versus UCD, Waterford versus Dundalk, and Derry City versus Shamrock Rovers, first against second in the Premier Division at the moment. So those matches we played the weekend of September 18th. Keep an eye across the FAI Twitter and SSE Electricity League social media for confirmed fixtures over the next while, but some really good matches there to look forward to. Gentlemen, thank you both very much.